I forgot I had a baby. So when I was sleeping, when after CS you have to stay in the hospital for like 3 days. So when I was sleeping, I could hear some noise at night. It's a baby crying. So I wake up, I look at the baby. I'm like, ai, na huyu amewekwa hapa na nani?
Welcome to another episode of State of Mind. Today we're having a beautiful discussion on postpartum depression, what people also call baby blues. I know you definitely want to join us on social media, so do so on Facebook, Twitter, on YouTube, and Switch TV Kenya, and Instagram, Switch TV KE. But first, let's hear Irene's story about postpartum depression.
My experience getting a baby. Mine was very traumatizing because in my mind, I was going to get a baby normally. So when I got to the hospital, it didn't work. I could not dilate. So I was forced to, or rather, I was rushed to CS because now I got something called placenta abruption. So now there was a risk because I was bleeding, the baby is suffocating, the placenta is coming out. So I had to be rushed to the CS. And that right there was really depressing. The following day after giving birth, it's when I was like, wow, how did I forget to change the baby's diaper? How could they do the CS? No, I was blaming everything. Then I got emotional. I could cry over nothing. And I forgot I had a baby. So when I was sleeping, when after CS you have to stay in the hospital for like 3 days. So when I was sleeping, I could hear some noise at night. It's a baby crying. So I wake up, I look at the baby. I'm like, ai, na huyu amewekwa hapa na nani? And then I'm like, oh, it's my baby. Because when the baby cries, your breasts, there's some pain you feel because now they're recharging milk. So I'm like, oh, it's my baby. Then I breastfeed him. And I did that for like 2 weeks. I was forgetting I have a baby at night. So I realized this is now depression. But I didn't know someone can forget their kids, that they are there. During the day we are fine, but at night I totally forget. Every time I remember the experience, I get a flinch. I'm okay, but I'm not just recovered from the process of giving birth.
Thank you for joining us back. And I'm here with amazing, beautiful ladies. We have Dorothy Bruno and Linda Rose Karemi, who are going to be discussing with me on postpartum depression. So introduce yourselves, lady. Right from the far end, Dorothy, tell us about yourself.
Thank you for having me. My name is Dorothy Bruno. I'm a nurse midwife at the current hospital. And also I'm a nurse midwife consultant at Malaika Limited Company. And I also offer Lama's classes, prenatal and postnatal, and I've also done a counseling diploma, a diploma in counseling psychology.
Yes.
So it has enabled me to handle and interact with moms. Yes.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Dorothy. So Malaika, and also Lama's classes,
yes,
and also a counseling psychology, and also a midwife. Many hats all in one. Okay, good. So let's go to Linda. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you for hosting me today. My name is Linda Rose Karemi. I'm a nurse midwife. I'm also a clinical nurse research, and also infection prevention control manager at the current hospital.
Okay, beautiful. So for you, infection control is a lot, and it's a big deal for you. So you're keeping us safe, and I'm glad to know that you both work at the current hospital. Okay, brilliant place to do your job. So tell us, Linda, what is postpartum depression, and what are the causes of this, this giant that we're talking about and mentioning everywhere? Tell us about it.
So postpartum depression, it's a mental illness that involves the brain.
Yes.
And it also affects the emotional, physical,
Yes.
and behavioral health
Yes.
of some women
Yeah.
after delivery.
Yeah.
It happens 2 weeks post to 8 weeks, and it can go up to 1 year.
Yes.
Postpartum depression is normally confused with the baby blues, but the postpartum blues, it happens after delivery 3 days.
Or within 3 days
Within
of
3
delivery.
days of delivery.
Okay, good. So tell us, what can cause this postpartum depression? Is any mother who delivers prone to getting it, or are there specific things that can predispose and cause women to go through postpartum depression?
So 1 to 10 mothers get postpartum depression.
Yes.
But the causes are, if there's family history,
Okay.
the family history where the mother herself in postpartum depression to her current pregnancy,
Yes.
or any family member. It can also be caused by hormones change. This is we know the endocrine system, where we have the estrogen and progesterone. They're produced by the ovaries.
Yes.
So they tend to go up
Yeah.
when the mother is pregnant. So after delivery, they go down. So it causes depression. Also the thyroid hormones, when the levels are low,
Yes.
they feel so sluggish, tired,
Yeah.
and depressed. So it can cause the postpartum depression.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So it's basically a whole cocktail of causes that can predispose one to postpartum depression.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So Dorothy, tell us, does every mother get postpartum depression?
Basically, not all moms get depression. We have moms who have passed through traumatic, maybe deliveries.
Okay.
Those ones they can get the depression, and we are taught that it's estimated globally that 1 in 10 moms will
Yes.
get depression.
Yeah.
And these moms who are getting depression, they have predisposing factors
Yeah.
which make them get that depression. Like a mom can be having a personal history
Yes.
of depression in the past. So when they deliver, they are likely to get depressed.
Again.
Yes. If there is a family history, maybe there is a family member who
Yeah.
has depression in the family, this mom might tend also to get that depression.
Postpartum depression.
Yes. Also, if they are undergoing stress, like maybe financial constraints, they have lost a job,
Yes.
they have broken, maybe there is a relationship breakdown when she's pregnant.
Yeah.
When she's pregnant, it will spill over to the postpartum period.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So basically, you've mentioned things like traumatic births.
Yes.
What are, can you just highlight for us what are traumatic deliveries? Because for us, we understand you can be having problems when you're pregnant, so when you deliver, that
Yes.
spills down to you getting stressed out.
Exactly.
So
precisely.
traumatic deliveries or births, what can that be?
Well, a mother can go into labor. We can never predict how the outcome will be.
Yes.
Sometimes they could be having difficulty in maybe in progression of the labor. The labor can be so long, it can take too long.
Okay.
That can be very, very traumatic. Or the
Yes.
baby is not in the right position.
Yes.
We call it cephalopelvic disproportion.
Yes.
That one, it will lead a mom to have a very long labor.
Yeah.
Hence, it is very painful.
Yeah.
And the end of the labor, the mother will be very traumatic. Another traumatic event is like maybe she was expecting to have an eventful delivery.
Yes.
And then in the way, when she was delivering, after delivery of the baby, there comes what we call postpartum hemorrhage. That's very traumatic because
I
it's a
agree.
near-miss death.
Yes.
And it's very frightening.
Yes.
The mom is very frightened, and they may need transfusion. So through these traumatic events during labor,
Yes.
they can cause the mom to go into depression.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a very good elaboration of some traumatic events that occur, and people might not think much into it,
Yeah.
but might actually predispose a woman into getting into postpartum depression. So Linda, tell us, what is the biggest predictor for postpartum depression? You're hearing the word a mother has delivered, so just mention one, top of your mind. Two, what is the biggest predictor for postpartum depression?
So as my colleague has talked about
Yes.
the predisposing factors, they are aligned so many, because at one point you can deliver a baby with abnormalities.
Yes.
You can have a baby with let's say cleft palate, and even you don't know how you'll start even breastfeeding this baby, so it becomes so difficult. You can also have a baby who has Down syndrome,
Yes.
where you not able even to even saying the baby is abnormal, so that makes you depressed. Besides being in the ward,
Yes.
it can also, the predisposing factors can also be, as my colleague said, the past traumatic events.
Yeah.
It can be also how this mother was raised, or this client was raised
Yes.
in a domestic violence family, where you saw the parents fight on and off.
Yeah.
So when they get the baby, they just they question it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from just basically from their history predisposing them, it just like the things you can pick up,
Yeah,
and you can know this
sure.
one will definitely go into postpartum depression.
Very
So at
sure.
this juncture, we'd like to take a break, and I'm sure you definitely want to join us back as we have this interesting, beautiful discussion. Thank you. Welcome back from the break. And did you know this about postpartum depression? Welcome back. And right now, the discussion is still going on, right on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, on Switch TV Kenya, and Instagram, Switch TV KE. So I know you're all excited to continue engaging our guests. And so right from the far end, Dorothy, do you have a tool or a specific thing that you use to see if this woman having postpartum depression or not, or is it just baby blues, or are they just sad?
Thank you very much. I have a tool that a mom has to assess herself. It's called Postpartum Mental State Assessment Tool. Basically, it talks about the signs and symptoms. Like, there are those things that she has to check to note whether she's to assess herself, to see whether she has those signs and symptoms of depression. Maybe some of those things that she has to check. We'll ask her about whether she's sad most of the time. Is she crying most of the time? Is she irritable and agitated over nothing? Is she very conscious all about the baby? And is she having thoughts about committing suicide? So when she goes through that tool, she's able to assess herself and see whether she's developing postpartum depression.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. So now, ideally, do you use that to assess every patient, or do you just use that to assess those ones who you feel like they're getting sad?
Basically, we give it to all moms who have delivered, because pregnancy and delivery comes with emotions.
Yes.
We expect them to be very excited and joyful because of the baby who has come in. But because of some reasons, because of those predisposing factors that we've talked about,
Yes.
some may go into depression. So when they go through the kit and the tool and tick it early, they're able to detect, or where the health provider is able to detect whether this mommy needs help
Yes.
early.
Early enough before they
Yes.
actually get discharged from the hospital.
At the hospital, we're not doing it, but I do it as part of Lamas classes,
Good.
because I work with these mothers during antenatal period and the postnatal period. Through the antenatal period, we take them through a lot of information.
Yes.
They also practice exercises, and when they deliver, I follow them at home, and we go through the classes about baby care, and then I believe that mothers who are empowered
Yes.
will not go into depression. So I have to give them this tool
Yes.
to assess at some point.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you for that. So Linda, tell us, ideally for you now, when you see a pregnant woman in the, before they deliver, what tips would you give them to prevent getting depressed, even before they go through delivery?
So what I would love to tell mother first is to ask for help, because if you have someone you conversing with, what your feelings, because these are hormonal changes.
Yes.
And you know, with every woman with hormonal changes, they tend to have emotional behaviors.
Yes.
So one is to ask for help and also talk to someone. Also, you can ask the mom to go for gym maybe,
Okay.
or walks.
Yes.
You can tell them to have enough sleep, because if you tend to think a lot and you lack sleep, you're not able to be active. You can also tell the mothers to eat well.
Yes.
One of the signs, it's they lack appetite.
Yeah.
And so if you're not eating well, it changes your body
Yes.
functions.
Yeah.
So you're not able to perform the activities.
Okay, so before even before they deliver, one can eat well, exercise, get psychosocial support,
Yes.
so that they don't slip into depression after the delivery.
Yes,
Okay, good
sure.
one. So tell us, Dorothy,
Yes.
now you find a mother has postpartum depression. What do you do about it professionally, as a midwife, and also as a, as a person who takes care of women after delivery? How do you do about it?
Thank you very much again. When I walk the journey with the moms, you get to understand them.
Yes.
You bond with them until they're at that point that they are very free to open up to you.
Yes.
So I'm able to detect when she's moody, of which mood swings are there during pregnancy. But if they get to a point that they require help, I attach them to a psychotherapist. There are treatments that they are there for postpartum depression, psychotherapy.
Yes.
In psychotherapy, it's a professional counseling,
Yes.
whereby you they engage through a psychotherapist,
Yes.
or a psychologist,
Yeah.
and they go through a psychotherapy called cognitive behavior therapy.
Yes.
This cognitive behavior therapy,
Yeah.
they go through it to understand, to identify the changes in their body, in their mental state, so that they are able to be helped on time.
Yes.
We also have psychodynamic therapy, whereby they are taken through to realize what causes the emotional problem, what is causing them to have this emotional suffering.
Yes.
And through self-reflection, they are able to understand what is causing this emotional suffering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apart from that, we have medications. Those are antidepressants. Now, with the antidepressants, it's prescribed by a healthcare provider. So with the healthcare provider, they sit down with the mom, and if she's having a partner, they are taken through, before they start the antidepressants,
Yes.
they are taken through the benefits and the risks of taking these antidepressants, because some small amount of the antidepressants will pass through the breast milk.
Yeah.
But the benefits of taking the antidepressants outweighs the risks of the baby having the milk.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
and
Thank
then
you.
they make an informed decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite detailed, and it's good that we know that you can use medication, you can have psychotherapy, so it's basically a cocktail of solutions to this. So your closing remarks, ladies, as you tell us, how do we reach you if we want to seek help in regards to postpartum depression? So closing remarks and the social media handles, and if you have a contact that you want to share. We can start with you, Linda.
So you get me at LinkedIn, Linda Rose Karimi. I think that's my handle for now.
Okay, thank you. So Linda Rose Karimi on LinkedIn. For you, Dorothy Bruno.
I'm on Facebook as Dottie Karimi.
Okay.
My cell phone number
Yes.
is 0724 416 029.
Okay. 0724 416
029.
029. Okay, thank you so much, ladies, for joining us today on this discussion and enlightening us in regards to postpartum depression. So thank you for the viewers right at home for joining us today and for keeping us active on social media. See you next time.